eyes up, don't get all tied up. Hoping you wise up the multiple lies of the multifaceted, multi-complex system of living that people are living. Stuck in inertia, that's a diversion. Government worship, instead we are searching ancient mysteries, ancient history, sacred energy, and how to discern it. Human autonomy, truth of philosophy, UFOlogy, human psychopathy, super anomalies, human ecology, you got lobotomies up in your consciousness. All the thoughts that we've been dancing around. The system wants to blow your candle out, but we won't let it. We reject it with our pathetic lies, so we chant it down.
Chant It Down podcast is your gateway to your unraveling of a complex system that is grabbing hold of the lives of you and everyone you know. Come untangle from this woven web to understand this crazy world. Chant It Down with your host, Luemas.
Welcome back to Chant It Down. I'm your host, Luemas. ChantItDownRadio.com is the website. This is episode 231. Many of you know that I have been an underground hip-hop artist for a long time. Hip-hop is the most lyrically talented music of all time. When I learned the truth about the world back in the late 90s, I turned my music into a vessel for this truth. And for me, it was my way of conveying this message long before podcasting. It actually became a real reason to do music. It was a true purpose to convey what's happening. It was a vehicle for my lyrics to run on, was this truth that I knew. And it worked to moderate success, I would say. But what I didn't realize at the time is that I can do the opposite effect of what the dark side use with their tactics. You know, I can make a catchy hook, throw some cool lyrics in there, and people repeat that in their heads like people do to the songs that are meant to degrade and disempower from the evil record labels out there and everything. So music has a lot of power, and that's why it's such a controlled medium. But we have the power to heal people through it with good alchemy. And so I got today on Derek Bartolacelli with me, co-host of Dissolving the Divide, which is a solution-oriented platform aiming to bridge the many gaps between people. And well, Derek, I can't wait to talk to you about that and many other things today. How you doing, bro?
Excelente. Merci beaucoup, brother man. Luemas. Yeah, great to be in contact with you. And hey, aloha everyone out there at Chant It Down Radio. Yeah, wow, I love what you just said, and it really personifies a lot of my motivation and convictions for why I kind of got into what I've done as well on the side of my musical channel, whatever, AwakenYaMind. That's my moniker I've had, and it's really mixing truth-infused music, incorporating a lot of all types of knowledge, philosophies, spiritual principles, eternal axioms of truth, natural law, and all these things, weaving it into tapestries of these like soundtracks to people's like awakenings, or just, you know, spreading more awareness and all this stuff, and riding the underground railroads, because we all understand the mainstream has been, you know, infiltrated with, you know, all these record labels and stuff that really curbs imagination and proper creativity and the vessels of truth, as you mentioned, and the messages get distorted, as well as the frequencies, and wow, rabbit holes galore. But
yes, it does. I mean,
well, I'm orange like a carrot, but
yeah. Yeah, that is bright orange. So yeah, I mean, so what you're talking about absolutely is, you know, spot on. I enjoy that you like to make a mixture of a fusion of music and truth, and it's good because it can give a listener an experience that brings them through your own little like mixed and tape together thing that makes a new art form out of other art forms. I love doing that. I used to love doing that back when I used to, make people like mix CDs and stuff. I like when I used to date women that first started dating, and I always like, I'd like to put together like this extravagant mixed CDs. So, and I don't know if many of them ever
Okay.
really like listen to it the way that I wanted it to be listened to, but it was always fun to do that. And I can see where how with your artwork and infused with the music and the samples of everything, I think that sounds like it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, cheers. And oh yeah, back in the good old days where, yeah, and I don't know, you're probably a little bit older than me. I was born in 83, but hey, we were having, tape cassettes to press record, and when those radio songs would come on, we'd get those little snippets or whatever. So
Yeah.
already then we were kind of fiddling around with music and trying to get our, preferences more refined, I guess, and share that with others. And yeah, I totally feel you of how not everyone's going to interpret and receive the music the same way as we would, or it goes kind of subjectively, individual by individual.
Sure.
And going into all this beautiful like hip hop and lyricism and stuff, and the thing that really resonated with me is just how much these people can pack explosively and like encrypt it and like use ebonics and stuff that goes under the radar of Big Brother and all that shit. And like even for us, 1 2 3 time going over our heads, it takes us a while to catch on. And so like after I had like a really profound spiritual awakening, like all that stuff just like resonated hardcore with me, having that inner ear awakened. And I was like, all right, this is dope as fuck. Yet like we're kind of at the 11th hour or 13th hour or whatever, as
Mhm.
far as like where the trajectory of humanity's going. So we got to make shit more direct. So that's why I was pumping in and inserting all these little quotes from philosophers, the likes of Max Egan. He's one of my favorites. You've
Yes.
had
Shout
him
out
on, I
to
guess,
Max.
which is, yeah, the good old Crow House, which is, what, introduced me to your works and your radio show.
That's
And I was like, oh,
awesome.
wow, this guy's making music. And so, yeah, that one theme song that you had back in the day, I threw that in one of my mixes a couple years ago.
Yeah, thanks. I would have
Yeah.
never guessed that would be in a mix somewhere. That's cool. uh, yeah. Well,
Yeah, it's a beautiful jingle, and like the tunes resonate, and I can almost have the lyrics in my head verbatim. I'm not gonna embarrass myself trying to spit them to you on the show, but yeah,
I don't
what
even
you said
remember
about it's that, you can call it the hypnotic melodic way of repetition, and how things get more ingrained into the psyche of the person listening, and
them.
it just goes on a repeat in their mind. And yes, we understand that's part of the mind control and all the shit we see in commercial radio and on TV and all this stuff, and the harmonics that they use and the frequencies and everything. That's very manipulative, as
Yeah.
I'm sure you're aware of. And like that's not even considering the 440 hertz frequency as opposed to 432, for example. But
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah. So we're in a mixture of so many frequencies, but I guess going back to what you're saying about how they use these tactics, it's it's very powerful because so I this is very random, but I just thought of this. I was going through some old music, and I'm actually going to use a snippet of some of this in a show that I'm going to be doing, because I was thinking about how I was taught about like sex, and how I was like kind of brought into the manipulation of just that. So I was listening to Too Short, the rapper Too Short, and so I went into his work, like old school stuff, and I'm like, wow, how easy it is to nod your head to this. The beat's good, and if you're into it, and especially as a teen, when I heard these lyrics, I thought it was, kind of cool. Like, wow, he's talking about getting girls and doing this and that. And, of course, it's such manipulated, such a bad, like, warped world in reality. But just
Yeah.
that groove, that if you didn't really listen to the lyrics and you just were bobbing your head up and down and just listening, how easy it is. And I've met kids that but that are walking around and singing the latest pop song, not realizing that they've caught these these choruses and catchy hooks and stuff. And so yeah, it exactly. I just want to put that in there because it's so easy for people to get into music that's not good. So more importantly, we need to have them get into music that is good.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, here's the thing, like, it's beautiful. And I've said this in different segments and other people's podcasts as well, even my own, but like, they want to recruit the top talents across, not just music, but everywhere. So they
Right.
can help, like, build the prisons, and all that stuff that we're living in, kind of, and have us, praise these people's champions type of things that are kind of being manipulated, or they sign contracts. That's why they say that you sell your soul if you sign the dotted line. But yeah, all right, this is interesting because I don't know if you're into battle rap, if some of your people are. I know I don't know if there's like a little battle rap circuit that was going on in Hawaii, but there's a guy named Osna.
Huh.
Know if you know
No.
this guy, but yeah, watching some battle raps and stuff, and that's just a Hawaiian reference for y'all. I don't know if anyone out there listening knows what I'm talking about, but this guy, he battled a man from the Bay Area that I've seen live, and because I went to like hip hop shows a lot back in the day, open mics and stuff. I
Yeah.
had a friend that used to rap all the time. It was great. But there's this one battle rap line that he just like killed him, where he said, Dirtbag Dan said, just like, hey man, your lyrics are shit, but man, like, you're just getting tight with, all these other crews because you're making dope ass beats, you know. So it just reminded me
Yeah.
of connecting what you said. It's like a lot of people are nodding their heads to music just because they like the beat. The
Yes.
lyrics, it just like, they throw that into their subconscious or something like that, or don't pay attention to it. And it's like that in France as well. Like, I hear all this American pop music and all whatever, and even, these white suburban kids, dropping N-bombs, listening to shit in their headphones, whatever, with this mumble rap bullshit nowadays. And it's like, yo, all that is like appealing to lower sense bullshit. And, it's like, wow, the beat is so tight. Yeah, but it's wasted on shitty lyrics. For me, lyrics are
Absolutely.
like number one. That's like the logos, the word. When, first God spoke the word into existence, whatever. Like, that's what it boils down to. And like, this is our vessel. Our vocal cords are producing sound and
Yeah.
manifesting things in vibration into this reality field. So what is our worth when we're opening our mouths? What are we sharing and trying to co-create with that? Is it
Yeah.
breathing in life, or breathing in bullshit, ignorance, death, and
Right.
whatever?
I can see that that's why I got it into, well, when I got into actually rhyming myself, I
Mm-hmm.
started to slip away from these commercial things and really get into underground stuff where lyrically talented music was like what drew me in. Like, wow, you can do that with your lyrics. Oh wow, you can create a story, create pictures in people's minds, and you can use tonal inflections and all kinds of crazy stuff that where the actual vocals become an instrument rather than just over a track. So that's what started to attract me more. Was, I mean, I started out like anyone else. I talked about listening to Too Short, and just like that was popular, and or it was like, you know uh, mainstream-ish at the time, and but that wasn't the real stuff. And so once you realize that how powerful lyrics can be, it's so much greater. And sometimes I don't even mind listening to something with a mediocre beat just so I can hear some really awesome lyrics. So I get you there. Yeah.
Totally, man. Yeah, I love those, bathroom recording quality, 4-track tape
Yes.
cassette stuff. And like, that's just that raw hip hop lifestyle of people
Right.
just like, yeah, doing what they can with the means that they have to, because they have that conviction about something and they've, went through experiences and, or like can't come to points of enlightenment, read certain books. I mean, how many times have you heard in hip hop songs, Behold a Pale Horse referenced? I've heard it like a dozen times, and this is back in like the 90s. And that's why it's like I want to interview some of these cats as well, because I'm kind of curious as to like pre-internet or like early internet stages, how these folks were talking about, hermetic principles and
Mm.
things of that nature in the esoteric side of things and the conspiratorial world. Like, what kind of books keyed them into all that stuff, and like, or what kind of knowledge was passed down to them through their ancestors or family, friend, people they come in contact with in life. So, and how
Yeah.
does that shape and mold an artist, like yourself, and like what you went through and researched and discovered within yourself and just wanted to boom let that out in a lyrical expression, you
Yeah.
know
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's funny how uh I guess, well, I wanted to say two things there. One of them was that I wanted to go back to where you started listening to hip hop, actually. So I'm assuming that you probably started to listen to hip hop before you got into this truth information, or I don't know. How did it work for you? I guess how did the door open for you to get to become you and get so interested in all this and make it your
Mm,
thing?
yeah. Going back, thank you for the question. Honestly, like hip hop schooled my ass on so much and keyed me into, wanting to learn more about the esoteric side of things. And so yeah, I mean, like grew up in the Bay Area, San Francisco. We had the Two Shorts, the Mac Dre's, and all these other people.
Yeah.
E40, with that good old slanguage where we get all the, but then it kind of went dumb and a little too hyphy and whatever the hell.
Right.
In the early 2000s, late 90s, I guess. But on the flip, there was folks like Rest in Peace, Zion I, Baba
Mm-hmm.
Zumbi, rather, from the group Zion I, Gift of Gab, of Black Alicious. I mean, those were like hometown heroes. And like, it was
The,
completely heartbreaking over the past couple of years. They passed away. Living
yeah.
legends were high affiliates with them, hieroglyphics. There's so many countless artists all across the Bay Area spreading the whole genres and creating genres and subgenres of within hip hop and rap and all that stuff. And like even shit that went way over my radar, but and it's like I revisited those things even after the fact and like brings me to tears, like listening to folks like Audio Pharmacy, which used to be called Chaotic Souls back in the day out of San Jose. But what they were talking about, it just, highlighted like some of my, moments of grand awakenings and things like that. And you're just like dumbfounded. Like, if I heard this like 2 decades ago, where would I be like right now? Like, holy smokes. But I was so yeah, I told you I went to like open mics with friends. I had a
Mm-hmm.
really great friend, Dan Wilner. He goes by Uncle Lush, who really just like from an early ass age wanted to just rap his ass off and freestyle for fucking days. And he wanted to go into battle rapping. He wanted to do the slam poetries. And so, a couple of our friends that, like to do that and just like cipher around, freestyle, beatbox and all that stuff. We would, hit up the city and stuff quite a bit, from Berkeley to Oakland, San Francisco. There's quite a few spots. There's like barely anything anymore. It's tragic. But all
Wow,
that
I didn't
aside,
realize that.
yeah, man.
Yeah,
For me, it was like an epicenter of this art form over there. Like I felt
for
it was
sure.
such a golden era to grow up in as well.
Yes.
And yeah, being with certain friends in high school really shifted that away from like the gangster rap, the Tupacs, even like listening to like Rough Riders, DMX, and all that stuff. And
Yeah.
For me, I was like an adrenaline junkie for a little bit because, I played soccer a lot, and that really like fueled me. Like even just like listening to the beats, man, that shit's tight. And like even though I understand like the lyrics and I'm not feeling all of them, I'm just like put that aside, man. But like roll with that beat sometimes or whatever, But after like getting more into like all these underground tapes of the local cats and like living legends and like
Yeah.
Project Blowed and all these people,
Hmm.
Freestyle Fellowship. I was like, holy shit, like this is like speaking to my soul. This is so much more than, music.
Yeah.
And I began collecting so many tapes and CDs and stuff. And I had that over time and yeah, putting together a little playlist of cool songs. But then in 2012 I had a did that answer your question? I don't want to jump around, but
Oh, well, yeah, I was just asking basically, I think you did. I was just like how you got into the music and how it led you to the truth. That was kind of what I was asking earlier, but
mm,
but yeah, go ahead. Just roll on with your story. I was going to say though, before you go on, the living legends, I met a lot of them and
mm,
they inspired me to want to go do exactly what they did and travel the world and do shows and sell CDs. I never got that far because I started having kids, but
mm.
they were an inspiration to me on how they they were able to do that. But anyway, go ahead with what you were saying about your journey.
Worldwide Underground, baby. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's what's up. Yeah, I've seen them a couple times out in Maritime and San Francisco and stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, to be honest, after reading The Hobbit and stuff like that when I was a teenager, I didn't really like to read all that much, especially with all the textbook crap you learn in high school. And midway through high school, I didn't even want to go there. I wanted to go to like a more like nothing, like. But I was still playing soccer, so that kept me around. But I just felt like learning from hip hop was more fun than learning from school, you know, public
Oh yeah.
school based education. And yeah, I was staying up all night sometimes, like on weeknights, just smoking weed, listening to music with a couple friends.
Hmm.
Sometimes just like conversing on whatever, and just like, hey, you're growing up and whatever. But yeah, so going through stages of life and yada yada, some college and that. I met a wife who is, I don't know, 3,000 miles southern from you in Polynesian
Yeah. Uh,
Tahiti.
Tahiti.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that really shifted everything for me. And I ended, I've been living in France ever since I did a study abroad program, met her, and I took uh, all my hip hop stuff with me. And I was like really trying to refine that. I got a new computer, so using iTunes for the first time, I was like, okay, cool. Oh wow, GarageBand. I never used that. Let's do it. And then like fucking with virtual DJ and just putting together like certain sound clips, because when I was married, I had, just that heart-based activation within myself to just like want to better myself in all facets of life and really just re-educate myself, because looking back, I was like, hey man, you didn't take school that seriously. You were learning through hip hop. That ain't enough, man. You need to read a lot of books and all that shit. So I had to fast tracked and like did like a quantum leap of fucking studying like hardcore day and night, getting like barely any sleep at all sometimes. And
Oh,
at the end of that tunnel or rabbit hole, hop in, whatever, and it's not like a one-off event. I just had something happen to me where just some kind of kundalini awakening. I felt zapped by the universe, and I just had a complete frequency shift within my whole being.
hmm.
Since that moment in time, 2012, like I heard a lot of people have had, let's just call them activations, whatever. And so, yeah, that's what I meant when I had the inner ear open and stuff. And when I was in France, I didn't have a whole lot of friends, which is why I had all my music to just, back me up. And like, that was like the curbing of getting homesick or whatever, even though I was loving
Hmm.
the language and the culture here in France, uh, just getting more intimate with the music. and then it just hit me after I had that awakening, like, all right, this is too good to just, keep to myself. I need to, spread this goodness, but in a cool, unique way or whatever. Like, it's like, I don't even like to consider myself a DJ all that much. Even I've done a couple sets in Paris and I wanted to do more at the time, but it's like, this music, the conscious stuff, it's not the most danceable. And I know living legends realized that decades ago or whatever. And then they tried to switch up the style, and that didn't really appeal to their core fan base or whatever. But you know how that goes. And
Yes.
so I had some rough experiences doing live DJ stuff in Paris, because I got like requests like, play Beyonce for the 5th time tonight. And I'm like,
Oh.
I gotta leave, man. I'm
That
not
would be
even
so
making money
boring.
from this. And like,
Yeah, that'd be
yeah.
hard. Yeah, I know. Like, so um you're probably wanting people to like not. I think with hip hop that you and me listen to is not something that it almost takes a trained ear to start to really like the real raw stuff, because people, when they go out, they just want to dance, and it's that kind of tempo where we're talking about, like we were saying earlier, lyrical talent that serves a different part almost of musical listening in a way. So I can see where it's hard to like, if you were to DJ right around me and play these cool things, I'd be like, yeah, all right. But yeah, in a public setting, and we're talking about the general public who doesn't know a lot and doesn't like cool things, it's hard to please them. Yeah.
Yeah. And that reminds me, I wanted to mention this earlier, with what you were saying of how like the whole commercial music, they want things like so easily digestible, and it goes back to neuro linguistic programming as well. Like, just like basic text, keep things at like a 3rd to 8th grade level type of thing and then I don't know, it's just like a mediocre experience of this beautiful conscious art form of expression of music. But yeah, I totally get it and understand people want to dance to familiar, simple lyrics that they can sing kind of by heart as well, that kind of stuff. I don't mind that myself, but yeah, the direction where I take my music, it's not my music, I'm not making it. I'm saying just like my rebroadcasting of
Yeah.
just, yeah, so many wonderful, like countless artists at this point. Yeah, it's all just different, man. It's all for the love. But yeah.
Yeah. We, I mean, so I guess now you have a show called Dissolving the Divide. And I don't know, like when you were saying that, it reminds me of like sometimes we need to bridge a gap for people to see. And I've people in the past have called me the bridge gapper. I try to get messages out to everyone, and I want beginners to latch on.
Mm,
So why and I want to show people um that they are politically divided. I mean, I want I want people that are politically divided to see how both sides are hijacking their consciousness and things like that. And so, for me, repairing the divide, not just that, and many things, and trying to bridge the knowledge that even like or the knowledge I've acquired through time, or the music that we like and stuff, trying there's an art form, and I don't know exactly how to do it always, but in latching on to a mainstream person and trying to kind of bring them in, you know what I'm saying? So dissolving the divide, to me, that just the word you think you're that you the title of your show, I mean, uh reminds me of being able to try to get even to the lamest person, the try to bring him down this pathway, if you know what I mean.
Boom. Yeah, exactly. When we're trying to have this approachable for anyone of all walks of life, even though it's not in Russian or Chinese or, anything like that, we understand, like, and we're also trying to break out of the Americentric, way as well. And yeah, we'll get you on. That's going to be awesome because, yeah, we're going to have someone on from Italy, Germany, and stuff. So, but yeah, I really love your approach and how people actually see you as that, someone trying to bridge gaps and, heal division, if you will. That's awesome. And just like, yeah, like we are kind of like dot connectors,
Yeah.
and there's a way in art about that. And it's kind of going into the art of life. It is how we wield our magic and with our words, right? And we can do it in many ways, through your music or just conversations like this. uh there's so many different ways we can go about it, and it's easy for us to be discouraged when we get into arguments or disputes, or just like we get
Yeah.
told off. Oh, I'm a conspiracy theorist. Where do we go from there, guys? Hey, that's great. Well, yeah, sometimes you got to let bygones be whatever, but
Yeah.
it's all about not losing face and not just having that disrespect. Like, respect is really like seeing someone twice. Respectare, like the name, like spectator, that's just seeing, observing, and re is to like
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
The computer's going.
Oh, yeah. So to, I guess, to get this information out to people, that it takes sometimes just little conversations. Like, I mean, lately what I've been having a good time doing, and I don't know, I think this is what you do for as well, is trying to teach natural law and trying to teach morality in this world. And sometimes if you come from that angle, you can get people almost better than any of this conspiracy stuff. I mean,
Boom.
I'm actually very passionate about both, but I'm thinking, like, a lot of people can nod their head about morality. I mean, it seems like that's why so many people join religions. It's like
Yeah.
they have morality, and so maybe that's a good way too, is to get people to latch on. Is this being able to teach them natural law, morality, and respect, and simple things, and having conversations stem from that. That seems to be up your alley as well, huh?
Yeah, totally. And yeah, and this that's why religions work so well, because they play on certain codes of consciousness and morality and stuff, and then distortions throughout then, but there's got to be that hook to line and sink them. And for me, yeah, like going through and it's kind of like the rites of passage, almost, rites of initiation, going through the whole conspiratorial world. Conspirituality, have you heard that?
Yes, I
I
have.
can
Yeah,
just think of
yeah.
that word. They're pretty dope, and they're out in Canada, I think. But I mean, that's fine. Like, we need to understand the world around us, and especially within us, and like understanding how we're getting played, how we're getting manipulated, what kind of tactics they're using, all the mind controls, the NLPs, all that stuff. Um, that's fine, and there's ways to share that information with others. But like, haven't you noticed, like, bringing up things that in those conspiratorial worlds, like, get a lot more knee-jerk reactions, as opposed to coming at it from a more of the natural law thing or philosophical
Yeah.
aspects, and then like in the midst of that, just throw a little subtle thing about like, and this is like a better path than what we're on like right now as a humanity, as a whole collective, whatever. Like, hey, how come we didn't learn about this in school? Or like asking questions, like taking the Socratic approach sometimes, or being
Yeah.
apophatic, if you will, of
Yeah. Asking questions is sometimes the best way to go about it too. I've had great great responses from asking questions rather than telling people how things are. It's that, well, that, you know, everybody's different too. So you meet some people and they can handle, you know, different bits of information, and you can kind of feel somebody out after a while. But it is difficult. But I think you hit it on the head with saying about the philosophical side of things. I think sometimes if you can bring people in that way, because the truth movement, although there's some great heroes in it that I still love today and everything. I mean, there's a lot of positivity there, but it almost needs a refinement approach, because what has happened since at least 2016 is this whole alt right emerged out of the Trump things, and that to me really sort of hijacked this. And now when people say, oh, you're into conspiracies, are you into Q, are you into Trump, you know, they just write you off so quick. And that's why I know that was a psyop. And so it's almost like us real raw truth speakers that understand this at the deep level almost need a new approach, because we can't really just come from 9/11 was an inside job. And, you know, I mean, it was great at one time. It worked kind of, but it almost needs to evolve, I'm feeling like, in order to reach these people these days. And I know we need to reach these people. I mean, that is the great work that needs to be done. But it's such a battle, I guess. And I did like what you said about some people just let bygones be bygones. You can't convert everybody right away, but you can plant seeds.
Or yeah, speaking of seeds, there's going to be a cool conference coming up. Seed Academy, Brandon Martin, NADCAP run that, and they're going to be in another conference coming up. The Trivium. I'm actually going to be throwing some magical music mix action in there, and that's coming up June 24th, 25th. Folks can check that out. It's going to be an online conference, and the reason I bring that up is because I feel like there are groups, you know, kind of like in this one great work network. At least I was hoping that, you know, it's going to be that better reformed and refined media epicenter where people can get the goods. And there's like 70 content creators on there, I think, something like that. Yeah. Richard Grove, he's doing his thing with autonomy as well. So there's some good works, you know, happening. And I know there's a lot of people kind of under the radar, even, you know, from networks and stuff that are, you know, trying to do bigger and better things. And I totally feel you. I mean, like, even in the occult world, it needs a fresh reformation, because there's way too many distortions, and there's way too many podcasts and YouTube channels now and whatever.
Yeah.
Because hey, there's good money in it, and there's good ego boosters in there with their millions of views and whatever the fuck now. But you know, all that aside, like, yeah, people might have forgotten the pure intentions behind why we do what we do. But just riding the coattails off of like some esoteric knowledge just to, you know, boost your shit up, that's pastime bullshit. You know, we gotta step up way the fuck more and get the priorities straight, and really untangle the distortions that have people kind of just like blocked at certain levels. You know, we're not up leveling as much as we should, if you will.
Right. You know, and I do have something. So I've been around for a while doing podcasts, and I feel like I can say this myself, at least. That there is a lot of people out there just kind of for all the views and the likes and the, you know, the esoteric stuff, but they don't really go deep. And what One Great Work Network, is that what it's called? Mark Passio's group, that I do like. In fact, last episode I did an episode with Sean McCann and James Cordner about cops
on the black pill.
Those guys are you know, that they're awesome. And that kind of refined, I was like, to have them on was really refreshing. It was kind of like a refined truth that needed to be here on Chant It Down, and well, everywhere. So I see people like that and people on that movement as almost like I see back when I was into hip hop. It's funny how this parallel just popped in, where when I was into underground hip hop, there was a lot of wannabes that wanted to rap, and they were in it for the wrong reasons. And so it's almost the same. I almost look at it as like this truth movement. What I always thought was awesome, and at least what got me into a lot of this, like, is some of my influences, like Freeman and Mark Passio and a few other people, friend like Bob Tuskin. They all had shows back in the day, and that grew into the Free Your Mind conference, which grew into this group we're talking about. And this was the real raw truth to me. And now there's a lot of podcasters, that people I'm not friends with, and I'm not going to say any names, but that are just kind of in it for that same kind of shallow reason as you do have in hip hop, or actually really anything. There was always a circus around it,
Yeah, totally, man. A lot of whack MCs, the Dime a Dozen and all that shit, man. But and that's kind of, I checked myself from an early age, and like, all right, am I on the fence of this wigger shit right now? I need to, check that. I wasn't that good at rapping, so I was just more beatboxing, so my friends could do that. Just probably didn't get enough practice in it, and I'm not that best at beatboxing anyways. But I wasn't trying to put on a fucking persona image, and trying to front or whatever, right? But when you're in the Bay Area, you are heavily influenced by, I mean, especially if you're going to certain scenes and listening to music, just like by that language, if you will, just like the ebonics and just like the way of talking and all that stuff. But it can become generic as fuck, and like, just copycats and all that crap. And it's like, yo, man, sure. Like, speak from the heart, let the soul be free, mon ami. My friend in French. James Cordner, he's a good friend, colleague. We've had him on Dissolving the Divide.
Nice.
Yeah, good cat. Hitchhiker's Guide to Truth. Yeah.
Yep. Shout out to James. So let's talk about your show. I mean, so you're how many episodes you got? And you have a co-host, Leslie, forgot her last name, sorry, but
Leslie Powers. Yeah, she's
Leslie
great.
Powers.
I was hanging out with her and her partner Chris Jansen just a week before I left for France.
Okay.
And her and I started this show. I wanted to do something even before I met her, but like just like having like a really cool connection. We had a wonderful walk in the park, talking about a lot of stuff and getting more acquainted with each other. It just sparked that connection and vision to have a cool co-hosting thing, having the divine masculine and feminine side of, having people on and just having open discussions with people. And we're trying to get a lot more people outside of our echo chambers, and this is what I wanted to mention too, which really sparked my interest in doing this, is because I noticed this, I'm out here in France, when the Donald Trumps and whoever's got elected and stuff, and seeing all the fucking QAnon and what it really doing on, like, I did a funny little video on that, and like kind of just like shattering the illusion of this fucking bullshit. Because I totally saw the key word is polarization between people, whether like Democrat, Republican and stuff. The whole Americentric thing just like took over the world of like the anti-Trumps versus, the people that were supporting him or whatever. But then we got lost into the fray, the people that aren't trying to support any kind of government. But the QAnon bullshit, tried to weave, all these conspiracy things that you would have connections to us. It's the psyoptic optics of, how they, use these tactics against us and kind of discredit it and defame us in a sense.
Yeah,
it's like,
I like that.
You don't believe in that, the Rona is whatever, and like you don't support the lockdowns, you don't support the jabs, or you must be a Trumper or a QAnoner or a flat earther or whatever the fuck. It's like, I'm a human being first and foremost, and I'm a sovereign individual, and no one has the authority to say anything over my own body.
Tell
me what to do with it.
That's right.
But here we are. Since the dawning of the Rona, things have changed, and obviously the polarization has gotten that much worse since the Trumpolina polarization thing. So it's been interesting observing things, and then getting caught up in the fray myself a little bit. The online discussions, and get me out of here.
True that. I know. It's like sometimes I get YouTube comments that I'm like, I don't want to answer back to that. But then I start thinking in my head, like, you know what? That person needs to know. I'm just gonna rip into them. I don't care or something. But but there's part of me that wants to be in there and fighting like that, and then there's a lot of me that's like, nah, waste of my energy, you know. But
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know.
and I got to a point where it's like, you know what? Enough is enough. I'm just gonna dissolve. Let's just dissolve these divides. Let's get back to the fucking basics, the fundamentals, the priorities, and just like the inner power within oneself and that balance. Because there's a lot of people that out there running off of whatever distortions, like imbalance within themselves, operating on some contradictions, not being in alignment with their thoughts, emotions, and then their actions are, the behaviors that we see and like the discord that follows with that. And so like that's part of the alchemy that we're here to do, those who have done the inner work, the shadow work, and activating and realizing that there's a lot of things that are bigger than this one little moment, and we can again wield our magic to maneuver through conversation, even through discord. It's about that art of debate, really, and having compassion, not losing face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just I get you, man. There's a lot of work to be done. We need to do the right work, but maybe getting back to those essential things. And yeah, we're all humans, and we all have souls, and we're here, we're sovereign beings. We no one has power over us, and just getting to the basics maybe is what we need to do as far as refining this whole thing. Because, and I don't know, and again, every person you're going to meet is going to have a different reaction to everything, and uh you'll kind of know what to do too. That's how I've always thought. But dissolving the divide is a cool name, because I want to dissolve a lot of divides in this world, and I know you do too.
Yeah, I can't wait
what
to
are
have you
some of
on to
the main
discuss that, brother. Yeah.
yeah. So what are some of the main things that you kind of go about as in dissolving the divide?
Yeah, so our first handful of episodes, which includes a mutual friend, Mario West, one of the
Yes,
best, of course.
Maria.
Love, truth, and beauty all day.
Yeah,
That was setting the foundation of the axioms of eternal principles that creates the common ground. We're trying to recreate this common ground through natural law and objective morality, and just like putting the focus back towards the individual, and like, how you doing? Like, what are you aligned to? What are your true values? How are you operating within yourself and your relationship to the reality around you, nature, your family, friends, coworkers, whoever, random people you're going to see, homeless people on the streets, whatever, right? Are you carrying yourself large, trying to hold some kind of lights? Are you enlightened? Are you weighed down by a bunch of baggage, whether mentally or emotionally, right?
yeah.
So, yeah, falling back on the Hermetic principles, it's all about your state of mind, which is why my channel is AwakenYaMind. I don't have that, but I
On
don't have any
Odyssey, right?
logos on deck to show you, but no worries.
You got it on
But
YouTube and Odyssey, right?
yeah, I'm on like 8 different platforms:
Wow.
Rumble, Brighteon, YouTube.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, BitChute. Yeah, Odyssey is the best place to go. I have my whole full discography. Something that you might want to y'all listen. You know what? My English gets bad as the days go on while I'm in France. So I'm glad we got it in while I'm just
Would you?
here and fresh into
Oh,
the
yes.
country. But yeah, like,
I know how that
but
is
I,
too. I'll
yeah,
take on
sorry.
a dialect somewhere, or if I'm around someone long enough, I'll start picking it up and things change. I know what you're talking about. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, but I keep going over the same rhyme scheme. Yeah, check out my Odyssey. It's something y'all ought to see or whatever. Like, but I'm out here. I'm trying to bridge gaps, bridge worlds, bridge dimensions. That's part of my purpose in life. And having a wonderful co-host like Leslie, it's great. And she asks a lot of great questions. She has 30 years experience of working with, people to help them better themselves, like mental health issues, whatever. Right? It's been like an epidemic for how long?
Yeah.
Probably since forever, since there's mind control going on. And what does the
Yeah.
word government means, right? Like,
Yeah. It goes back a long ways. We're the
yeah.
product of mind controlled people that were brought up by mind controlled people that were brought up by mind controlled people. Man, we're so far down the hole. So,
And that's part of the thing that I really try to keep in mind and at heart, to keep the compassion for people that
mhm.
haven't broken out of the deprogramming or haven't really started, are not initiated really yet, right?
Right. Yeah. Um, the I was mentioning the last episode I did with Sean McCann and James Cordner, and
Mm,
we were talking about cops, and the thing that James brought up, that was he was talking about how some anarchists believe that the only good cop is a dead cop, and he was like, wrong. These people need a chance. These people need, just like everybody else. Everybody needs a chance and it needs to be heard, because we all have different starting points. We really we're brought up in certain circumstances that mold us and make us, and we all have these different starting points, and we got to meet people and be compassionate too, because I get frustrated, yes, and I'm sure you do all the time as well. But if you can get to a soul level with somebody, you can just about get there with anyone if you just drop all those other things that are all divisions or you know disconnects and stuff like that. Yeah,
yeah, keeping the bigger picture in mind.
right.
And you're familiar with the goddess Mayat? You're
No.
trying to live light as a feather,
Oh,
because
okay.
you're at the end of your life, your heart will be weighed against that feather.
Oh, the Egyptian one. Yes, yes. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's really about alchemizing on a daily basis, detoxing on a daily basis, starting here, right? Like first cosmic law principle, always and forever, my friends, mentalism.
Yeah.
And just working your way through all the minutia going on a daily basis, working from the micro to the macro, and kind of stacking all the bullshit and burning it. You're alchemizing that and filtrating that. And geez, I felt like this song was in the mix that I had you featured on, but one of the lyrics goes, I breathe in problems and exhale solutions. That's the proper pranayama that we really need to be doing. It's not like, oh, uh you're breathing in the positivity and you're breathing out the negativity. No, we're alchemizing the negativity within us, and we're not breathing out the negativity into the reality field. That doesn't make sense,
No,
right?
no. And there's so much too that's good about apophatic inquiry, to be able to look at the negative in a certain light and go, hey, I don't want to be part of that. This is where we separate from that. There's so much power in that. When
Mm.
people say that kind of stuff is negative to me, like looking at the bad things, then they're not looking at it right, because we're looking at it so we're separate from that and trying to see what's taking people and manipulating people. It really upsets a lot of people, I guess. It's like,
Ah,
because it's alerting them to probably a lot of things that they need to do in their shadow work too.
boom. Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna get triggered, and that it's a shame that people see that as such a negative connotation. Like when when you get triggered, that's a moment to be like, okay, well, why did I get triggered? What was that about? And how can I not have that happen more? Like, because like when we get triggered, it's like our emotions are getting loosed out a little bit, and we're kind of like we lose that control, that composure sometimes.
Yeah. Yep, we do. It puts us in a shallow dimension, and it's see. You asked earlier about battling, rhyme battling. My thoughts on that, like, well, I mean, as much as it is fun to watch sometimes, I got to a point in hip hop where I was like, okay, there's too many people trying to battle rap, and it's not really getting anywhere. So I kind of wanted to escape from that. Well, that's kind of a similar analogy to what you're talking about too, just being in that like
Mm,
fight dimension. Well, yeah, we have to be
yeah,
in it, kind of out of that, bigger picture.
yeah, I totally feel you. I kind of fizzled out with the whole battle rap scene a while
Yeah.
ago, but yeah, but it's still, man, I don't know. They came up pretty big, like grindtimenow.com and things like that.
Mm,
And
yeah.
like I was amazed with some of these people rapping and like wow, you exhausted that much energy and like lyricism and thought into these rhymes just to like lyrically destroy this other guy. Like imagine if, you flip the script on that and, do some more spiritual approaches to that. I'm not saying like implement that in battle rapping. I'm saying like these artists have a lot of skill
Yeah.
and ways to work their magic with words. Like it could be used for more or better means, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely could be. I agree with you there. I, and I know that not all my audience is hip hop listening. I pepper my show with a lot of hip hop in it. Uh, I never really know what people think. I got some people that definitely like it, but then I don't know, because hip hop's not everybody's music. But maybe just to convey to the audience, maybe some of the really good artists that we know that have brought us down a path of really listening to what real good lyrics are and stuff, because I think a lot of people have a tainted image of hip hop, and I totally understand, because a lot of hip hop is pretty shit. And
Hmm.
especially of today, I'm really not, but there's these roots of hip hop that from the golden era and these underground groups that most people don't even know about, but I think they would like to know about them, and take that journey.
Yeah. Yeah. You want me to list some artists?
What's that?
Did you want me to list a couple artists?
Oh yeah, well, I was just gonna have like bring that into conversation a little bit. Like you mentioned,
Oh,
Black
sure. Yeah.
Delicious, Gifted Gab. That stuff was amazing, and I think anybody can appreciate that.
Hmm.
You came up Latyrix too. Latyrix were amazing too, and um,
Yeah. That whole quantum. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that whole thing was amazing, and a lot of people that probably listen to the show don't real, I don't bring them up a lot, but there's really good groups that spawn so much. Freestyle Fellowship from LA was phenomenal and like way way ahead of their time, and still are, uh
Hmm.
groups in the Project Bloat, and there's the West Coast we're mainly talking about here, the West Coast Underground, but that was all of my inspiration was the West Coast Underground. And I mean there
Hmm.
and some East Coast too, not solely West Coast, I'm not saying, but like there's so many artists in there that were just like so powerful though, that
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
that I think people should, give a listen to.
Hmm. Yeah. No doubt. And yeah, I understand. Like hip hop, it's kind of like that niche. I wouldn't say market, but it's not appealing to everyone. And you know, realizing that, I was like, hey, I want to spread the message so much more in so many different ways. So yeah, and I've done plenty of other videos in past years, but yeah, the Dissolving the Divide, that show is really just perfect for me to, branch away from music, and so I can appeal to pretty much everyone, hopefully.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. I like that. Yeah. So I'm excited to come on your show and check that out too, because that's good, man. Anybody just really coming from the heart and doing things is it's felt by your listeners, I
Yeah,
know it.
we've been graced with a lot of great guests. Like every show's been pretty fantastic.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you have other projects you're gonna work on it's coming up
Yeah.
or what was
Music
some
wise, it's hard. I don't want to cater to Facebook YouTube much, but that's where I have my core audience subscriber list, whatever, and I can't really put up any more full length music mixes before they get or don't even see the light of day because
Mhm.
of copyright restrictions. I'm sure you know what that's about.
Yes.
And yeah, but I still want to work in some mini mixes, types of things. I got a lot of stuff I want to do. I have another YouTube channel, and this is going to be like my website, Holistic Logistics. And really, that's going to be like the wellness services portal,
Mhm.
network in and of itself. You know, with a lot of people that I want to interview, like the Mario Wests and folks that are helping others. You know, even like Leslie. You know, people that have their proper private practice, and folks can find them and even like tarot readings, you know, or astrology, that kind of stuff.
Cool.
Because that is, you know, all part of the natural law. These are the sciences of life. And yeah, I take this shit to heart, and I take this as part of my mission here on Earth as well. And I've already I got like 100 videos that I don't have it with me, but traveling around, like meeting people also, and just like walking around with a little camera that I'm sure you've seen Max Egan. He's been having that on his show
Oh,
for
the
the
walk
most
and
part.
talks, right?
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
got a really cool camera for that, and I just got so much stuff like on deck that I, I need to find the time to do it. Just traveling around. I really hope this internet connection I have is going to come out clear. I'm
So
hoping.
far?
Okay, cool. But yeah, traveling around, it's not, you don't always have internet connection. You can't always upload videos and all this stuff. But
All right.
I interviewed a really cool blacksmith out in Oregon. His name's
Mhm.
Justice Wagman. We're like putting the hammer to steel, like live on the video. It's pretty cool, and I'm
Huh.
really looking to have great conversations and I keep it solution oriented, and I also appeal to content creators and aspiring ones to like, hey, this is what this is person's doing. Like, this is how we can do it. Like, you know, we can. I'm just trying to like cross pollinate, build people up, build myself up, build this uh, movement of truth and freedom up as much as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. You know,
No, that was
that's
kind of vague. I don't have specific
well,
projects, but yeah, I have a
yeah,
cooking class going.
really a
Also,
cooking class. Oh, wow.
not a class, but I got a shitload of videos of me kind of doing. Hey, this is how you make tacos, burritos, juice, sauce, whatever.
Nice. Nice. Well,
Yeah.
it's all that's your flair though. Like, putting it all that kind of extra thing in is cool because it doesn't always have to be all the same stuff. I like to throw in random things sometimes too, and it feels good to put a little bit of yourself in there. And I guess the hard part is loading video. Man, it takes so long. It's like I have a I have like so many videos that I need to upload, and I'm just like, maybe another time.
Yeah, yeah, it can be pretty overwhelming, especially when the plate keeps piling up.
Yeah, and the
Um,
internet slow or whatever, it
mm,
can be bad. Yeah. So we're talking about the great work and what needs to be done on the planet, and it really is all about worldview shifting. It's shifting people's worldview, and it's one of the hardest tasks to do. But I really like how, like, for example, you're coming from all these, new angles and stuff. I really like that there is people like it. that are doing this work and trying to come from many different angles, because that's what we need. We need more people to come from different angles and realize that this is the number one thing that needs to be done. Is the people need to know, and so that's why I did kind of rub some certain podcasts in the mud there, just talking about that they're in it for the likes. That's not the great work. This is the great work. We're trying to change the worldview and make the world a better place, and bring people down a wonderful path, really, because it makes things so much more meaningful. So what are your thoughts, and talk about the great work and what you think needs to be done?
Fuck yeah. I'm glad you asked that, because I was gonna say, even still, for folks listening out there, the great work starts right there.
In the heart.
Yeah. Activating that true sense of care, sense of purpose, sense of I am. You are someone. You are, a multidimensional fairy. No, no, I ain't gonna go that new age route. But we are all sovereign beings, whether you like it or not, or know it or not. And yeah, like just activating that empowerment within oneself, digging down deep within yourself, understanding what makes you tick, and the apophatic thing of, are these thoughts my own? Like, is the way of thinking, is that my own? And was I indoctrinated by this or that, and all this stuff, and really going through the steps of deprogramming, that true spiritual alchemy of turning the lead-based consciousness into gold, golden thoughts. Are you in a golden state of mind? Or are you just rooting for the Golden State Warriors? But just kidding. But you know how people are so much more passionate about sports and video games than, themselves alone?
Yeah.
You ever seen those memes? Like, yeah, thousands of people cheering on whatever. Like, when was the last time someone cheered that hard for themselves, even? And not on some ego shit, but just because they leveled up and they're feeling like, yeah, I've done so much work on myself and like making it happen. You're creating the inner content within yourself first, and then you got some glorious gifts for the world, right? So that's my take on the great work. And it's how James Cordner likes to say it, labore constantane, consistent work. It's a daily operation, as I like to say. And that doesn't mean it's a grueling, arduous task every fucking day. No, it's actually, I'm enjoying life more than ever enjoyed it before. Like, just being in line to hermetic principles, mentalism, understanding your correspondence within yourself and without, being on the vibe, understanding the rhythm of life and the rhythm within yourself.
Yes.
Riding the pendulum, or avoiding the bad pendulums and egregores out there that are steering humanity in the wrong direction, of course. Understanding your gender, which is a bit tricky these days, unfortunately, but what the hell. And understanding cause and effect, polarity, of course, as well, but being more of the cause point to the effects in your life. That's more of that, along the lines of that self-mastery. And yeah, we live in a collective consciousness, and not everything we affect in this reality field is going to be wielded within our favor. But I feel like if we take the approach, and I love the last segment we did with Ellie Blaze on Dissolving the Divide, just having such a wonderful magnetizing way about yourself, because you're in it for the win-win. You want to see people connect on heart-based levels. And Maria West talking about with her heart-based new humanity, along the lines of all that, having those approaches to life, that is the great work. And yeah, we have to man up in the sacred masculine self-defense principle when shit goes wrong, and we have to really defend certain things. If we're being violated, our rights are being violated. Of course, that's like happening right now on so many degrees, but it's so fucking insidious. It's not like back in the medieval days where you can just, storm the castle and behead the king or whatever. Not like that. was the end all for, the monarchs or whatever. But c'est la vie, mon ami.
You know, it is it's it's we can't we have to bravery's missing in our society. That's what's missing, is a lot of bravery. We have a lot of cowards.
Oh.
And look, I don't want to get in a fight or, you know, be some, have to be in that position, but i I feel like we do need to have that toolbox ready in at any time.
Oh.
Do no harm but take no shit. And it's that kind of thing of just being able to be brave instead of, if some lady's getting mugged and you calling the police, you go stop that lady from being mugged. Or that needs to be brought back in our society, this bravery and an unafraid truth speaking. Like the saying goes, speak your truth even if your voice shakes. Well, eventually your voice won't shake anymore. It's just people are out of practice. And so yeah, bravery needs to be brought back in this world, and that part of it, but not totally over aggression. Just being a chill person, but at the same time knowing when to become that person. That self-defense principle needs to be activated for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. And yeah, going back to like the law of attraction, as far as how we can just be good examples of stellar individuals. We have to spout out, like, hey, conspiracy, blah blah blah. Like, hey, we're just living our lives and like living with a lot of joy and laughter in our hearts and bellies or whatever, because we've come to certain levels within ourselves. There's no arrival point, but just like feeling so good and perfect within your skin. That's just something in and of itself, and like having that radiate it makes people wonder, like, hey, what's making that person so happy or whatever sometimes. And then you can be like, hey, this is just what I do in my daily routine, about that Hermetica, for example, and then people will be interested in like your way of life if you're doing it right, I think, right?
Yeah, you're an individual and a person that has something to say.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
and the courage to say, like you said, yeah, that's part of that awakened heart, I feel. And that's what I loved about music and making these music mixes, because I would just pump it full of bangers sometimes, of just like the beats and lyrics just like light a fire within me so hard. Sometimes I got my throat chakra like on fire sometimes listening to some of these songs. Like, wow, like the way these guys articulated this, and like, it makes me want to, I'm fired up. I'm motivated to do things, So
Yeah,
that's, yeah.
that's some heart-based stuff right there. I mean, when you feel that from the heart and you want to bring that feeling out and make it into something for others. That's it. That's the way.
Yeah. Yeah. And we can have fun with it. We can be creative with it.
Sure.
Because hey, there's a lot of competition out there, even for us trying to get like, whatever 100,000s of views and all that stuff. That's still peanuts compared to all the people making millions of dollars creating media, 30-second little commercials for fucking McDonald's or whatever the hell.
Right.
There's still many more people watching that and interested in that than, what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like we're still kind of outnumbered. We're still kind of outgunned with some of the forms of media that we use. I mean, like, I don't see a lot of people in network, creating glorious animations from scratch. We don't have those talents because there's no money in telling the truth a lot of times, right?
No.
I was like, but there's ways, it's like, and that's what I wanted to do, like that's what Maria does with providing services, helping people heal from trauma, and like, or being a way shower in some capacity for others, and an initiator, if you will, or helping people with tech stuff, right?
Yeah.
We've got to help each other a lot more and put some of these bullshit differences aside. I think people are still kind of caught up in some ego identification. They're not activated on the levels that they need to be to really truly create the content that they want to, or make connections with people that can help them do it sometimes.
Yeah.
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 Which is fine. Everyone's, like you said, we're all on different paths or, levels within ourselves and this and that. If I can extend a hand any way, digitally, musically, and help anyone out, that's fucking fantastic. And that always, inspires me to continue on and carry forward, and
Well, it all
improve
feels
upon what I've done already,
right. Well, it's also meaningful, and I do this for free. It's been that thing I do. In fact, I'm gonna have my 10th anniversary show in a week or two of this show,
Oh,
and I
sweet.
was like thinking about things to say, and I was like, well, wait a minute, why do I do this again? I mean, and I just went through
Ha!
my head, I mean, quite, and it's like I just kept on doing it, and I kept on doing it because it feels like it's the right thing to do, and I don't care if I get paid or not. It's like this kind of work, like music too, DJing, or when I did music, the same thing, it's like didn't make any money off of it really, or anything. It
Mm,
wasn't about that. It was just like this heart-based work, and it felt like the right thing to do because it all has to do with the truth, and that is the most important thing on the planet. And so if you're coming from that, then you're you're gonna love to keep doing it because it's all that really matters is the truth at the end of the day.
boom. Yeah. Yeah, at the end of the day, no doubt. And we can easily be discouraged and look at like the lack of views or subscribers and blah blah
Mm.
blah. I'm speaking out to my fellow content creators out there. Yeah, like that kills creativity and like the motivation to continue this work. But falling back on what you just said, yeah, it really just resurrects that, purpose again, like we cannot feed into these self-doubts and like, oh, no one's listening to us, or why am I doing this, no one's listening, or like, yeah, I've felt like that, like what the fuck for, am I yelling in the wind, like who's listening, I have
Yeah,
whatever subscribers but not that many is listening. We have to understand there's like some algorithmic bitch shit going on beyond belief, and
right.
shadow banning and whatever the hell YouTubery fuckery.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Big time.
but all that aside, yeah, just focus back inward, right? That's our it's supposed to be our safe haven, if you will. Like, how have we created our inner content? Like I said, did you construct a proper temple within yourself? You got the pillars of enlightenment, bien firm, steady up in there,
Yeah.
Are you a Freemason within the shrine of your soul? Yeah, like, and I mean like doing masonry, like carpentry, or building. Are you a master builder within the vessel of yourself? That's what it boils down to.
All right.
And those are the philosophies that I like to take from that school, at least. you know
Well, knowing about the truth and going on this path that and learning all this becomes a spiritual path. It really does, because you get to some really dark places and you realize, okay, the people behind this are from a dark spirit, but I know there's good in the world. And then you start searching for the real, like you start to get the gems. I mean, you kind of have to go spiritual with this information, I think. Not everybody does, I know, but um I would, to me, it would make me want to turn into something that, of high consciousness, the creator, going in and getting to know the creator, because of we're not in a very good world, obviously. So, but that's that apophatic inquiry again. Like you see the bad world, but you want to go away from that and gravitate toward the good, so it becomes a spiritual path. And I don't know. I always encourage everybody. Like I've met people that they don't want to know this information, but really it's going to just light up their path, and it's going to light up their heart and mind, and it's only good. So I'm just
yeah,
babbling, but yeah.
no worries. But yeah, like the whole apophatic inquiry of understanding more about who you are in relationships to the world and what you're researching. And yeah, oh, well, the darkness and this and that. Well, put that up against yourself. Like, is that
Yeah.
yourself? No.
Right.
Move on. Understand it. Don't let it, mess with you, especially if it's still in operation in this world, by puppet masters or the puppets or whatever. But hey, the more you know, right? But it's really integrating all these things. And yeah, the alchemizing and
Mhm.
but yeah, the new age cul-de-sac of spirituality, getting people caught up in the ass of the bag of, their path work. And cul-de-sac, that's what ass of the bag means. That's a
Oh,
French. Yeah.
okay. I was like,
I had a
ass of the
feeling I had
bag.
to,
I was, yeah, okay, cool.
just so folks can follow me on that. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, the new age notions of, okay, well, we're into yoga and like the body improvement, this and that, and yeah, the spiritual improvement, looking at our horoscopes maybe or whatever the fuck. And that's not a bad thing at all. But I see a lot of these people stopping short on, oh, that's too negative, or oh, the conspiracy stuff. I don't want to
Hmm.
look into that because it's whatever. And it's like, stop making excuses. That's fucking escapism sometimes. And,
Yeah,
you
it
come
is.
across that a good amount or?
Oh yeah, I do. Well, what happened? Well, so when I got really into the information about, like, started speaking out about a lot of this around early 2000s, right? Well, before and especially after 9/11, I ran into a lot of like liberal leftist types who were against the war in Iraq and stuff like that. And I was like, well, these are going to be the people that are going to be open to this information. But it turned out
Mm.
that they really weren't at all. And it was really disappointing. Talking about cul-de-sacs, new
Ah!
age cul-de-sacs and all kinds of cul-de-sacs. And, but yeah, or ass bag. What'd you say?
Yeah, ass of the bag.
Ass
Yeah,
of the
in
bag.
French.
Yeah.
That's the
Okay.
translation.
Yeah. So yeah, man. Anyway, I experienced that too, definitely, for sure. It's like,
Mm.
uh, and I got pretty rejected, and I was like, wow, really? You don't want to know more about why this war in Iraq, or it
The
was just,
causal factor of why, yeah.
yeah, yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
there was a real disconnect there.
Yeah, it's a shame. Yeah, I don't know, like, oh, the fractional reserve banking and all this stuff, or I don't understand why people don't care sometimes, and I do at the same time, and it's different for everyone, but it's like getting out of one's comfort zone, whether mentally, intellectually, emotionally, especially if the emotions will get triggered if, they're especially if they went to school and were super invested in that and, certain programs indoctrination
Yeah.
took them over or led them on the wrong train of thought or, some information. And yeah, the way these things work so well is because they mix a lot of truth with lies or whatever, right? The
Right.
distortions, I just like to call it that. But with them being confronted with, things that challenge what they think they know and all that stuff, yeah, those are they see those as red flags sometimes. So yeah, they do the knee-jerk reactions or whatever at it's unfortunate, but like people have been thrown out of their comfort zone since the dawning of the Rona, pretty fucking hardcore. Yet they're
Mm.
latching on to these other comfort zones of, their television watching or even Netflix or
Yeah.
all these things that are taking them away from the true reality of what's going on, what's transpired, and how did we got here to begin with. you know
Yeah. Hey, let's talk about that for a minute. I gotta wrap this up pretty soon, but I wanna
yeah, sure.
um talk about that because um I wanting to have this conversation with as many people as I can. We just had this crazy COVID shit that happened. And we just came out of like a really crazy reality where common sense went out the door. People got crazy about this vaccine, and like basically we were just pushed out of society that didn't want it. And now it's all back to normal. And I have a problem with that. And I imagine you do too. It's weird. I've done a lot of research on the effects of the vaccine, and what it might end up doing is taking out a lot of people, and while people just go back to normal. But just this whole, I don't know, this whole reality that has been brought back. It's like, okay, it feels like 2019 again. It does, but are we going to forget about what all these people just put us through? And I feel like people are. They're just forgetting about it now. And I don't know. I just
It's
want
more
to see what your
convenient that
thoughts
way.
are.
It's easier.
Yeah, right. Mhm.
It's and we're people have been so conditioned to press the easy button on life.
Yes.
Oh, forgive and forget. Even though not even, I haven't felt forgiven for all the whatever. But yeah, it's really easy and convenient to just put it in the past. Forget about it. Live another day. Hey, we're here now. Like, hooray, kind of thing. But I think a lot of that is getting swept under the rug in people's subconscious, because
Mhm.
it's that trauma, whether individually or on that collective. I think there's still a lot of trauma within a lot of individuals since the dawning of the Rona. COVID-19, Divock AI. Have you heard that one? Flipping the COVID backwards, and then 19 numerically is AI.
Oh, wow. No,
Yeah,
I haven't
Divock
heard.
is a
I have heard Debuff.
evil demon spirit.
Yeah,
I
right.
think it's in
Yeah.
Hebrew, I think. But yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But no, that's conspiracy. No, but yeah, there's just, I think a lot of people are in a place of shame as well. I think a lot of people, even if they took one or two jab boosters, then they realize like, hey, what the hell? This is kind of bullshit. Like no one likes to feel like they've been duped. No one
No.
likes to feel like, oh, I invested all this energy and emotion into this, but it was actually wrong, right?
Yeah.
And it seems like just how people have been conditioned, they'd rather just leave it behind, forget about it, rather than, hold themselves accountable like real adults should. And yeah, on the macrocosmic level, of course, society isn't, well, are they giving out fucking like stolen taxation money handouts to people? Here's your COVID check. Sorry, we fucked your life over. There's no
No.
consolation for that.
No.
So yeah, as far as like rebuilding a society after all this shit, you know, and avoiding the great bullshit reset, thanks to Charles, Klaus Schwab, whatever,
Hmm.
or the small dicked energy of Joe Biden's Build Back Better,
Yeah.
because it's all lowercase b, and those are 666 Build Back Better.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
like with the raw materials that it costs like 10 times more than they fucking used to, thanks to this motherfucking bullshit. Yeah, that makes a lot of fucking sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
No, like shit's way more expensive, and I noticed in France it's actually not as bad as in America. But yeah, price of gasoline and petrol, the price of food in California is fucking ridiculous,
Yes.
and that's the basket of the West Coast.
Yeah.
I
The
was I
United
was
States is
shocked.
really being destroyed within. It is.
Yeah, but I understand. Yeah, that's, I guess, part of the inflation or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other question you wanted to ask before? I
Well,
know you were trying to cut it short.
we'll close it
Did that
soon.
answer your question?
But yeah, no, yeah, that's good. It's just a conversation I wanted to have too,
Good.
because I think everybody needs to be talking about like, okay, we went back to normal, but we're not normal. I mean, this is people behave like absolute uh morons and absolute ridiculous, frantic, went to, survival mode, went to the reptilian brain,
Boom.
and
Yeah.
came back. And now we're supposed to just say, well, okay, this is back to normal. But I even think some of us truth people are kind of like going, getting lulled back to sleep a little bit, because these people put us through, like, all these people that put us through, even though it really was the order followers that went and actually enacted it, these leaders are getting away fine with all the wrong they did. Like, no one's being punished for this, and it's just like, if we allow this, then it'll be a piece of cake for them to do whatever they want to do again. And that's what I just want people to, like, people need to stay in the mindset they were in 2020 and 2021, and not forget, and that's just what I want to add to that. Yeah, for sure.
Word.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to see things like the CDC and the World Health Organization just get
Yeah.
dismantled and razed to the fucking ground, like a lot of other institutions that don't really serve humanity for the things that they think they say they do.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
whatever, that's thanks to Fabian Society and Tavistock and all these other think tanks behind the scenes and all that shit. But
Well,
yeah,
but anyway,
we're still gonna pull through and keep on doing what we got to do and try to be a catalyst for people. Even like, I would love to help awaken Bill Gates or whatever.
yeah, I mean, if
Imagine if he flipped a script within inside himself and like we had a powerful guy that had billions of dollars and like he just just
yeah, where are the
magically,
heroes?
like that's a pipe dream, but
right, yeah. Why can't someone turn rogue? I mean, I know some
yeah,
people think Trump turned rogue, and maybe he did in
or
his.
Elon Musk, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, but
right. Maybe they did in their scene, but they're still caught up in the scene. And I don't believe in politics and leaders, and you don't either. So, but
yeah,
still,
it's kind of
it's
savior
like,
programming.
yeah, saver. But there should be some heroes out there, like, someone with a huge platform, like, yeah, Bill Gates turns around and starts speaking the truth to everybody, and he turns out to be this wonderful guy, and takes off his vest sweaters, and he's just like, look, I'm a man.
Right? Yeah.
Well,
That'll be
Derek,
ridiculous.
it's been great having you on, man. Just a good
Fuck yeah.
conversation, talking about things that are all things truth. And you want to plug to the audience your websites, your YouTube, all the stuff you do.
I appreciate that, Luemas, and yeah, honor and pleasure to speak with you, brother.
Yeah.
I'll keep it short and sweet with this. And I'll share that with you. You can leave it in the show notes. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. My link tree.
Yeah.
That's probably the best thing I have. Yeah. I put all my platforms on there. I'm on a dozen different platforms, believe it or not. You can also find my email there, message me. Like I said again, under my moniker, AwakenYaMind. It's Awaken YA Mind. One word. It's actually from a wonderful song from Living Legends back in the day.
No,
Awaken
wow.
your mind to the truth it will find. But anyways.
Yeah, I remember that, I think.
Word. Yeah, that's my music channel on Odyssey. That's where I put all my stuff, and even my YouTube channel is made on there. So I get direct downloads from YouTube onto there, and I repopulated all the music that was missing from my YouTube over the past decade. I've had like 40 music mixes, taken off, or because of copyright stuff.
Yeah.
It's not
That's
that
right.
nefarious or like that wrong of them to do it, but it's whack. But
Yeah.
doesn't
It's
make
not
my life
nice.
easier.
Yeah. Well, Derek, that's cool, man. And I'll be happy to come on Dissolving the Divide, and yeah, thanks for sharing everything on this show today, and we'll collaborate again.
Fuck yeah, Luemas. Yeah. Much love, yo. Appreciate
Much
that.
love. Chant Down.
Peace.
Well, that was good. That was a good conversation. Two like minds talking, and just conversation about truth and everything that's important. And it's really good to have like minds in your life because it helps you uh, riff off of what they have to say, and it's really a good part of knowing people that know the truth, so you can kind of feel relieved when you have conversations. So I just want to end this. I thought I'd end this this way because we talked about music so much, and I've been involved in music. I started doing hip hop way back, early '90s, and so because it is such a part of my life, I've peppered it through many different recordings you may have heard here and there, but it is just part of how I learned to express myself. And it helped me put together the truth in a form of music and alchemy. So if you are interested in actually my recorded stuff, you ought to buy an album off the website, chantitdownradio.com. That'll be your best way to just, really dive into that, because I'm retired. Like, I mean, I just don't do, that isn't my focus anymore, but it was good when it was my focus. So if you are interested in that, don't be afraid to buy an album. I'll ship it to you. With the special instructions, when you buy one, then email me at peoplebeyondthis@gmail.com, and then I will do all the shipping stuff for you. Okay, so some of your address and all that. Okay, so if you're interested, that always helps out the show. I'm gonna give you a freestyle, and freestyling something that I still do occasionally. It's something that I learned a long time ago, and it's just another way of expressing myself just on the spot. And so I want to leave you with that. And the freestyle, if you don't know, is pure improv. At least in my head, it's completely made up on the spot. There is no preconceived ideas or anything. It's just talking like it's now. And so that's what we do, is we just do rhythm talking, and sometimes it comes out whatever. And of course, I'm not in practice. Like, if you listen to episode 1, I was pretty in practice 10 years ago, but that's not my focus anymore. And so because it's not my focus anymore, it's probably not going to be nearly as good, but we'll just see how it goes. Okay, so let's see what happens here. Take me somewhere and take me on a journey. Let me take you on a journey. I don't want you to worry. I want to make your vision unblurry, so you can be the pun that mix up some curry. I know your engine's purring. I'm just not a worry wart. I don't worry. I get to the point. I'm just me oozing. I'm oozing and juicing. I'm choosing to say whatever I want to say, because I am Luemas. I'm oozing. I'm not a fooling. I'm getting you out. You're grooming it so you can find some room in there and actually care, so you cannot be consumed by the people that want to consume you and ruin your life and make you not all up to your potential. So grab a pencil and paper so I can tell you how I don't taper. I'm just want to give you little vapors, as I just be the one to open up the drapes for you and let the light in and glide in. I'm just never lying. I'm telling you the truth as I kind of lie into this beat. Get comfortable, kind of comfortably numb. People are dumb. People are stuck on the same things. They're needing to take some tums, cause they got a heartburn, and a burning and a churning and twisting and turning around in this crazy rat race at that rat pace. That's why I chant it down, so you can have a place and just get on the pace and get on the page, and don't be part of the rage, and don't be stuck everywhere, and get out the gauge and the meter and go to the extreme for the reasons of living again. And living again, don't worry about those dividends and everything you want to get within the system, because it can be pinched by the government shoving you and just rubbing you the wrong way. Because I have to tell you how the song played, because everybody's on a different blade of grass, and I'm just coming through the pasture to give you a little bit from the master of plaster added and making the painting as I'm making this. And I don't exactly know, but you're not escaping. Just be aiming for the gold, aim for the fire and the flame, and don't get old.